Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have Cliff Gager. Cliff is a 30-year real estate veteran who specializes in flipping, wholesaling, and building long-term rental wealth. He's helped thousands of investors break free from the 9-to-5 grind by teaching real-world step-by-step strategies anyone can follow. Cliff's passion is turning everyday people into confident, cash-flowing deal makers. No money, credit, or experience required. Cliff, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dylan. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here. Very excited. This is awesome.
I'm glad you're here. We are both actually have some experience living on ranches. You were talking before the show. I'm on a ranch here in DFW, so I tell my guests you may hear some farm animals in the background. You mentioned that you were in a ranch in SoCal. Where are you based out of now? I think you mentioned Florida, right?
Yeah, my hometown is Florida, Orlando, Florida. And I've been away for 25, 30 years, and it was time to come back home and kind of slow the pace down a little bit and enjoy my grandkid.
Amen. I'm so jealous. I tell people Orlando I don't have too much experience with, but South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, I think that's one of the hubs of real estate young entrepreneurs in the country. And I think I'm in a great space in Dallas for single-family home investing. But for young people who are networking and trying to get to the next level, it does feel like there's magic in the water out there in Florida.
Yeah, it's Orlando is a little bit different. There's a lot of hedge fund ownership here as far as the rental market, and you have a transitional type venue here because of the Epic, Universal, Disney. So you have a lot of people coming here, and you have a lot of support service for those people. And most of the people in the support services of those companies are renters. So there's a big rental market here. But I don't like to play in my own backyard. I have things that I do across the United States that I've been doing for a long time. And I just reside here now in Florida and bask in the sun and play with my grandkid, jet ski, go on the water, go to the beach, the things that you do when you're a kid and you can't afford it, but now you can afford it and you go anyways.
That's a lot that I aspire to reach for sure. Let's pivot to the start of the journey. How did you get into the real estate space?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So I'll give you, you might not understand this, you being younger. I'm 60 and I say things sometimes and people look at me like, what? But because I'm getting older now, I say things that are old, you know. But I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. That was a book that had little tiny short stories and you could get the whole point across like in 5 pages. But I started back in 1991. I had a car accident which stopped me from doing construction work. And I fell into the mortgage business because I really didn't know what I was going to do. I liked working outside. I didn't want to work in an office. And the opportunity arose and I took it. And I figured if I can't make it, because it was commission only, if I can't make it in 3 months, I had to go back to work no matter how much pain I was in, right? So I got in at the right time. Interest rates dropped significantly. They were in the 12, 13, 14 range coming out of the 80s. And they were down to about 8 or 7% when I got in. So I ended up trying to get real estate agents to do business with me. But the average age in St. Petersburg, Florida, at the time for the real estate agents was like 60. And I was 20 something, right? So they looked at me as a punky kid, and it was really difficult to get them to trust their client to you with their mortgage. They didn't want it, you know, they wanted the old guy with the gray hair, which I got now. I shave it off so nobody sees it. But I fell into doing refinances. To make a long story short, basically I went into the back room as I was learning the files and the paperwork because it was all new to me. And what I realized in the back room where all the old files were was all these cases of 12, 13, and 14% interest rates. So I went to the manager who was helping me and I told her, I says, you know, these are all real high. I says, can't we do something with them? Because I can't get these realtors to do business with me. Long story short, she said, yes, that's called a refinance. Nobody wanted to do it because all of the big shots in the office were like, we're originators. We don't touch refinances. Nobody does that. I did. My first month of closings, I closed 42 loans. Because it literally, I got on the phone. I said, hi, this is Cliff Gager with Moulton Allen & Williams, your mortgage company. And they freaked out because nobody ever called you back then, right? This is, 35 years ago. And the only reason you got a call from the mortgage company is if you were late, right? So I said, don't worry, nothing's wrong. I says, I was going over your file here and I realized that you're paying too much on your mortgage. And then I would just shut up. And there'd be this dead silence. And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, oh, well, you're paying $420 a month. Or I'm sorry, you're paying $620 a month. And you should only be paying $420 a month. And then I'd shut up again, right? Silence wins, by the way. And so they would immediately say, how do I do that? And it was like, just sign this paper. So I would literally make an appointment for them. They were all local. I'd go out the next day. I'd go through all the paperwork, explaining it to them. You understand this terminology, and some of the listeners will. Their prepaids, their escrows, were transferred to them after closing because they were in escrow. So they got those refunded. And then I only collected I think 14 months for insurance and 2 or 3 months for taxes to build their new escrows. So that's all they had to come to closing with. And then they got that money back. So it was like, look, and I explained it to them like that. And literally I had nobody tell me no. It was like, gosh, if I could build a time machine, I'd go back to that same time again. I'd clone myself and I would have refinanced everybody in the United States.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Because you could add on a lot of points and stuff back then. There was no Dodd-Frank laws or truth in lending and all that. So I was making, I think, around $3,500 a loan. And literally my first month of closings, it was in November. It was chaos at the title company because I had 42 closings that day. And because they had to get in at a certain time so that they didn't have to come in with a big allowance, a lot of money because of the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. And I did that for like 9-10 months, ran out of people in the back room. What I should have done was quit and went to another mortgage company and did that there. I should have just done that until, the cows come home at the ranch. Right. So, then I started trying to get real estate agents because now I'm experienced.
Yeah.
And I should show you a pic. It would take too long, but I looked 12 years old. I mean, I didn't start looking old until about like last year. At 30, I looked 17. So, I mean, I'm not complaining, but the funny thing is I still couldn't get real estate agents to give me their business because they looked at my age. So I ended up going to the newspaper and started working with people that were doing for sale by owner because nobody was helping them on the mortgage side. So I went in and I just called their ads and I says, is somebody helping you? And no. And here's what I'm going to do for free. I'm going to print up flyers for your house. And on the flyer is going to be my information for the mortgage because nobody's helping you with that. And they're like, everybody's like, yeah, that's great. And you're not going to charge me anything? Nope. It's free to you. And I would go to their house. I had pictures. I made a nice flyer for them. And on the bottom, it had my contact information for the mortgage. And then I put like 3 payment options, 15-year fixed, 30-year fixed, and an adjustable rate mortgage. And what that did is it got me business. And I was doing 3 or 4 loans a month. Back then, I was making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a loan because you could. So, 2 people that I ran across in that were investors like we are today, and nobody was helping them, but I called their ads. So in introducing myself to them, we started working in a relationship together. I started doing all their end user financing, and I started finding acquisition money for them. So I did hard money loans. I charged a lot. I can't really say on air.
You did great.
But the statutory limitations are over, so I don't have any recourse. But I was doing 18 and 10. So I'd charge them 18% and 10 points, and they were glad to do that because it was bam. I give them, acquisition money, the whole amount. I'd give them the whole amount. We would be named as the owner. And we did a funky little contract, kind of like a lease option type thing back then. But they did the repairs. He came in with the repair money. He did the repairs. Our key to key for these guys was 45 days. So that's why the 10 points up front was because we weren't making anything on interest, honestly. But after doing that for a while, I got all of their phone calls. They sent all their phone calls for all their ads to me. So I fronted all their ads, and I worked those people. There was good credit, bad credit, no credit. And I fixed them back in the days when you got credit reports that weren't FICO scored. They were just a list of things on there.
Sure.
So I'd work with them and get them to where they could qualify for the loan. And then I was charging, the current rates were 7%, and I was charging them 8 or 9%. So I was getting a bump from the mortgage company was paying me for raising the interest rate.
Yep.
And I was getting 6 to 8 points. So if it's $100,000 mortgage, I was getting $6,000 to $8,000 just for bumping their interest rates from 7 to 8 or 9%. All it did on the mortgage for the buyer was raise their interest to, or their payment, like maybe 50 to 75, maybe $100 more.
Right.
But over 30 years, it's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So the lenders were paying us really good money. And then I charged the seller which was my investor, 2 points, and I would do one origination. So I was getting 10 points alone. So I was making $10,000, and then the investor was giving me money through my real estate company, because I formed a real estate brokerage business, like a flat fee of $3,500. So it was gold, and I was doing 5 to 10 closings per month for these two investors.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And one day I'm sitting at the closing. I orchestrated everything because I was the lender. So I was in control of the money. The guy in control of the money makes all the rules and stipulations, right? So at closing, in my closing instructions, I'm getting the closing statement. And one day I'm looking at it and it said net the seller, which was my investor, $28,000. And I made sure all my stuff was right. But it really hit me in the head. I was doing everything. I was answering the phones for the buyers. The only thing, I was doing everything. The only thing I didn't do was the repairs and look at the house on the acquisition to make the purchase. But I was there doing almost everything else. So I put it together and I says, I can make that 28 grand on top of what I'm already making. And all I need to do is switch seats at the title company. I just needed to sit in his chair. So what I did was I talked to one of the realtors, because I worked with all the realtors, and I says, hey, I'm looking for something for myself. And even though I was making all this money, I was broke. You know, you take a construction guy and you give him a lot of money, he's got a lot of cool stuff and no money in the bank, right? But I've changed a lot. So the funny thing is I went to the realtor. I says, I want to buy one. I went and I looked at it. It was a foreclosure. It was bank owned. You walked in it, and it was a little rectangle house. So when you walked in the front door, you looked at the sliding glass doors in the back. And the guy built an addition on the back on a slab with no footer. It cracked the slab in half, and the roof pulled apart, so it looked like structural damage. I was in construction. I looked at it, and I'm like, we'll just tear this off and make it go away, and it'll be good as new. So I put it was a $120,000 house. I offered him $40,000 cash, close in 30 days. They took it because it had been on the market for like 130 days. Everybody walked in, turned around, and walked out because they saw structural damage. There was none. It was a slab addition that had no footer. And the guy built a stone fireplace in the corner, which is, sank it down just like that. Wow. So I got it under contract. I had to come up with earnest money in 5 days. So I went to my investor and I backward re-engineered the deal. And I says it's worth 120. And if you do the repairs and you take out your costs and you take out the closing costs and all of that and your profit, if you buy this house for 65 grand, it matches and meets your expectations on a deal. I said, do you care how much money I make? He says, I don't care how much money you make. We're all in this to make money. He says, if you can bring me deals like this, bring them to me all day long. And that's all I needed to hear. I did that deal. I made 24 grand. I used his money. We did a simultaneous back-to-back double closing. And if you don't know what that was, I didn't either. The title company handled everything. I basically assigned my contract to him at closing. And I got a check for 24 grand. He got the keys. The bank got their $40,000. And then I did the loan on the buyer that bought the house from him, and I made another $13,000.
What a deal. So in that deal, you made about 35.
Well, I made 24 plus 13.
Yeah. Wow.
So on one deal. And the house only sold for $120,000.
Unbelievable. So you had
because
after that.
Most of the money came from the 13 came from the lender. And I think my investor made $25,000 on the deal profit. And I didn't stop, because once I figured that out, that I could do that over and over and over and over. And then I got really, really smart, and I says, I don't even need them anymore. I can build my own crews. So I did that, and we did 248 houses in 3.5 years. And I had no clue what I was doing, but it was common sense. It was logic. I'm I have a high IQ, but I have ADHD. So it's like I can concept things really quick, but then I forget. Yeah. It's like, oh, squirrel. So it's, I built a system. It was repetitive. I made it work every single time, working with the title company, working with the lenders, working with everybody, and it just worked. And then I had a divorce, and then I didn't factor that in. And we'll just leave it at that. I'm not even going to talk about that. But then after the divorce, I fell into the seminar business, which I just answered an ad. I didn't know what I was going to do. The divorce was really bad. It took 10 years to final. But I know it was terrible. But I'm over it now. It's been a long time, 20-something years since. So I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go back into being an investor anymore. I got burned really bad on that, the divorce. So I answered this ad, and it said, do you know anything about the mortgage business? Do you know anything about real estate? Do you know anything about that, this, that, and the other thing? And what happened was, it was a seminar company looking for people to give advice to their clientele base, which was all on the phones. And so, Cliff, you're going to be stuck in a room, you're going to answer phones, and you're going to give real estate advice all day long, and you're not going to have to look at anybody. And I was like, oh, this was perfect for my mental state at the time. Yeah. And I could make commissions on any sales that I did. So I was making $300,000-$400,000 a year working for the seminar company. My salary was about $100,000, but I was doing upgrades on, their coaching and learning and software and stuff, to the point where the sales department like almost walked out of the company, because I'd get you on the phone and I'd be like, okay, let's work this deal. Get out your software and let's analyze this. And they're like, oh, we didn't buy the software. Click. I'd hang up the phone. And they'd call back and I say, oh, something happened. I think we got disconnected. I said, no, if you're not going to be serious about this and you're not going to have the software, then I don't have time. I've got other people that are serious about doing it. No, we'll buy the software. I got 17% commission. So, I mean, I'm not bragging or anything, but it was a natural thing. It really worked well. The problem was the education that these people were getting really was substandard. And so I went to the company and I says, hey, let me go out and teach a 3-day class on the weekends. I'll work here in the office during the week, and then I'll go out and fly me out to wherever, and I'll sit down with them for 3 days. So day one, I just did raw, get them in the mood, get them understanding how the process of what I was doing. I taught them what I did. And I got them into the mindset that I was in. And then the next day, we started calling real estate agents to go look at houses. And I says, I didn't set anything up, preset or anything. I says, we're doing this live right here, right now. And I would get real estate agents just like that instantly to give us access to houses. And we'd go look at the houses. Sometimes we'd put offers in. And I'd walk them through the house and explain, look at this, this is what you want to be careful of. And so when they left that, and then we'd go to Home Depot and I'd walk them through and I say, here's all the materials that you need to use. And, you don't want to use this expensive stuff because nobody cares. Like the TV shows today, I could talk for 4 hours on that. But the interesting thing is I also, back in the day, took them to the courthouse to look up the foreclosures and work directly with the banks and whatnot. You can't really do that today. They've changed the system, how it goes. But, and then on the last day, it was again, just motivational, getting them all lined up so that they could, function. So I was like one of the originators of the bus tour. When you hear these people doing bus tours and they take investors out and show them houses. That was me. I started doing that in, I think 99 is when I started doing that. And I've been doing that ever since. I did it for a lot of the seminar companies. I don't promote any of the seminar companies. I got out of those companies for certain reasons. And of course, anybody watching this who has ever dealt with one of the seminar companies can understand what I'm saying. There's a lot of good people out there, but there was a lot of companies that just how much you got on your credit card, and that's what their goals were. So I started my own company, and I serviced the seminar businesses by doing the weekend classes. I did the quote mentor coaching or mentor classes live, and I did that for all the big ones. I won't mention any names, but if you heard a name, you would know them. They were all over TV, and somebody's in the White House now. Yeah, so I did that for many, many years. And then I finally just broke away from the seminar companies and started doing it on my own. Primarily, my real estate business is expanded because what I did was while I was teaching these classes all over the United States, I was building relationships with people. And then I just cloned and duplicated what I did in all of these other locations. And rather than me having to do the deals myself and have these people work for me, I just helped them do the deals and they threw me money. So it was never I want this much, I want that much. I said, whatever you want to give me and you feel is deserving, you throw that at me and I'll make it a consulting fee. I says, or you can join my 1-year coaching program and, we'll split the deals if you want to do that. So I offered that for a while. And, but my primary business is right before COVID was buying houses in Cleveland, Ohio, running them through my system, getting them all cleaned up, running them through Cuyahoga County Housing Authority to get them as far as Section 8 tenants installed. The rental rates are just phenomenal up there. And then what I would do, because I was living in Southern California, is I would have a seminar or go to seminars and pitch my stuff there as far as the houses for sale. And I'd hold my own seminars and I would sell them to people that were employed by the state, had a retirement account. I had a woman that does nothing but change their accounts into self-directed investment accounts. So and I don't know anything about that. That's her job, right? Yeah. So I don't need to cloud my mind with it. All I know is they have a checkbook for their account and they can write a check. And a typical California government employee has $500,000 to $1 million sitting in their account at 2 or 3%. Wow. So the houses we were turning in Cleveland, I was selling between $130,000, $120,000 up to $200,000. And they were turning like a 18, 19, 20, 25% ROI. Unbelievable. Tax deferred. They couldn't pull any of that money out, but instead of making 2, 3, 4%, now they're making 15 to 20% return. Everybody loved me. And eventually they'd want to use all their money to buy all the houses that I had. So I never had a buyer problem. And that went real good until COVID hit. COVID was devastating in California, to say the least. I left California about 2 years ago and came back to Florida. And as I was driving out, this was in 2023, right? 23, 24. I saw a guy driving with a mask on with 3 other masks on top of it and a face shield driving in his car with the windows up by himself. I won't give you the sad story of how COVID affected my business, but it shut it down for 2 to 3 years. Yeah. And I just redirected, I took the time off basically to just, deep dive inside to find out what I really want to do. And that's what I'm doing now. So I'm doing, getting back into the Cleveland market. I have a whole crew there. I have a whole team there. I got property management. I've got a student that wants to do multifamily. I never did multifamily. I liked single families. At one point, I had 428 single-family rental properties. And for me, it was no big deal because you hire staff when you have that many people renting from you. So I didn't know who was in what building. I don't even know. A lot of them, I never saw the houses. So, but we won't talk about that because, the divorce. So, but.
Cliff,
but
we actually are coming up on time here. That flew by. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
CliffG.me is my website. I have a little training course that I do on there. You can register for that. I do offer some additional training and stuff of the way that I actually do business. And I've been doing it for, like I said, going on, I don't want to admit 35 years, but it works. It works every time. I have a method of how I do my offers. I have a method of how I analyze the property. I've lost money on 2 deals in the entire time. And I hate to say it wasn't my fault, but it wasn't my fault. I had a partner that said, I can do it better. So, obviously not. But that's how you can contact me, is through cliffg.me. I also have cliffg@cliffg.me is my email address. And I'm available 24/7 on the website, and look forward to, helping more people. My big goal today is to help people not make mistakes. There's a lot of information out there that some is good, some is not. I like the way you guys do the masterminds where you actually help each other, where you analyze what somebody's doing, and then the whole team goes together and helps come up with better solutions. That makes my day. I mean, to help people is my reason for being on this planet.
Cliff, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and have a great day. Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.